the home of the do-it-yourself trucker. When everything goes wrong, you gotta Redneckanize. So we were having a great conversation, talking about some great things, and we're gonna bring Greg and Robbie on. And what we were talking about was getting the driver shortage, and talking about getting good drivers, reliable drivers. And what I was talking about earlier, and I was filling these guys in on what I was thinking about was how the drivers, the carriers are like, we're talking about reliable drivers that'll show up, drivers that'll deliver on time and not have accidents. That's basically what they want. The problem is that a lot of times the carriers will reject drivers based off of other issues. Maybe that, they're slightly, unrefined in their customer service skills, or maybe they're a little bit more into not taking care of themselves that well, or a lot of places they require uniforms, and if you don't wear a uniform exactly right, they yell at you, or they write you up, or they're always saying, you can't work here anymore, your uniforms are always sloppy and all that like that. But what I always have a time to argue with, and I think Greg agrees with me and Robbie as well, is that truck driving, it's a certain lifestyle, and it attracts certain kinds of people, and some of those people, they do a good job. It's just that you got to let them do it the way they do it. And if you're trying to change them, then those people would rather, like we said before, they would rather go dig ditches than to hear you tell them that they're not doing that job right when they were doing it just fine. So, what do you think, Greg? You think that a lot of guys out there are just fed up with trying to be changed. They're fed up with trying to be controlled.
Yeah, it's right. People don't, you get them, and they the younger guys coming in is what this industry is. I think that's why they're trying to get into 18-year-olds, because if they get 18-year-old drivers out here and they get into where they can get them in trucks, these companies get a hold of them soon enough. It's like everything else. They can train them and refine them the way they want them. They can teach them the way they want them to do things. You get the older drivers out here like you, yourself, and me, and Robbie, ones that's been out here for 10, 12, 15 years or longer. Me, almost should be 37 years. You're not changing me now.
Yeah.
I'm set in my ways, and I'll admit it. I've been out here too long. I know everything I've done. What I've done has worked for me all these years. I haven't, like I said, on air, I said I haven't had a major accident. I haven't lost a load. I've been fortunate, real lucky. God riding with me, whatever. But that's the way it is. But if they can train these drivers to do and live and work the way they want them to do it, then they don't know any other way. They think that's the way it's supposed to be done. But to tell us, well, you got to do it this way, or you got to do it that way, no. I've been driving a truck longer than you've been born, and you're going to sit there and tell me the way that you want me to do it, and it's worked for me all this time. I'm not changing now. And that's where you get conflict, and everything starts bumping heads. And that's why you have the conflict that you got out here, a shortage of drivers, because these guys said, no, I'm not doing it your way, I'll leave, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. And
they go.
Yep.
So, that's just my opinion, and that's what I see.
Yeah, I see it too. Like, even in my job, we get paid really good, and that's fine. We got nice equipment, okay, that's fine, everything. But when I need assistance, or when I'm trying to figure out what I need to do, the jerk on the other end of the phone he's kind of an asshole. And it's like, I don't want to put up with that crap. So why would I don't care if I get paid good and drive a new truck. If you're going to talk to me like that, I don't want to hear it. So and that kind of thing. And just like people talk about it all the time, don't work for a certain carrier because their dispatchers or managers or whatever are jerks. To me, that's all personal preference, because it's all about who you're actually dealing with. A lot of people, I remember when I was working for the bigger carrier, a lot of people would change their terminal, their home base, where they were working out of, because they didn't like the people that they were having to talk to every day. They'd rather talk to the people working out of that one terminal. Robbie probably agrees with me on that. There's so many other people say, I don't want to talk to you. Give me somebody else on the phone, and that kind of thing. And in fact,
then they're done that. No, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Exactly.
He answers the phone, and I answer.
Yeah.
You hang up, and then you call back again, try to get someone else.
When I went back over the road.
You can't do it until you get to the right person.
Yep. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, a lot of times what they're going to do is they talk about where they're getting their drivers from, driving schools. Okay, but you never hear anything mentioned about where these companies are getting their dispatchers.
Right. Yeah.
90% of these dispatchers are young kids, and I can say that. And I'll tell you, why real quick. But they're getting these kids that are coming out of high school, whatever, they graduate, whatever, they go over there, these companies are hiring these kids, whether they're relatives or sons or daughters of somebody that works in the company or whatever, but they make a decision for them. They put them in dispatch. You could be a driver recruiter, or you could be a load coordinator. You're going to be a load coordinator. We're going to train you how to do this. Well, that's all good. Well, if they again, it's like a driver, as long as they're trained to do that job the right way. But a lot of them come in there, and they train, and these people, I'll say 85% of them can't tell you what the inside of a truck looks like because they've never been in a truck.
Yeah.
They don't have any idea. They run them miles on the computer, and they say, well, it's 500 miles from here to there, so you should be able to do that run in 8 hours. Well, or whatever. Oh, well, yeah, they give you just enough time to barely squeak by and get it. I run into that problem with what I'm doing here now.
Yeah.
All right, but they don't take into consideration the summer months you got construction every 5 miles. In the wintertime, you've got road conditions to worry about, weather, ice, snow, rain, whatever. You've got elements to deal with. You've got, infrastructure problems. Now you got detours everywhere, roads closed, ramps closed, whatever. It takes a while to get that done. It's not a storybook world. Change the page. It changes by the minute. And anybody that says, well, I've been here long enough, I know that. No, I learn something new out here every day. To this day, as long as I've been driving, I've always learned something new. That's why that like I was saying before, that rookie or newbie crap, I don't buy into that.
Yep.
Because I don't care what you're doing. You started somewhere. You was the same way them kids are. At one time, you was trying to learn your job. All right, that get done. This company that I work for, they got a bunch of young guys that's dispatching. Like, in this company, we got like 50-some trucks running. All right, we got about 5, 6, or 7 dispatchers in there, including the owner sits in there at a desk and dispatches too. And the biggest majority of the time, he dispatches me and a few of the others because, well, we're under paper laws. Not that we're doing anything illegal, but he controls us. Right now, I found out the other day, I have got the oldest truck in the fleet now. All right, and they run it. Okay, I don't run any less than what the rest of them do. I don't get treated any different. All right, than the rest of them. But at that, it's like we don't have. And I found this hard to believe when I went to work for them, when they told me what they paid, how they paid, what they did, and everything. I said, yeah. And his fiance told us, I said, this will be the last place you ever worked. And I said, yeah, you know how many times I've heard that? Well, you know what? They have little to no turnover rate. They've had 2 guys quit that I know of in the last year that I know of. And that's because they was older guys. I'm talking in their 60s, 60s, mid-late 60s, getting towards 70 years old. Been driving for many years. And when Biden got elected, their theory was they quit. They told him, I'm leaving. Biden's elected now. He's going to screw the trucking industry up. We're not going to make no money, and my money's going to fall, and I'm not going to be able to do anything. I quit. I'm done. And they quit. And she said, I don't know why. The owner said, I don't know why. But we have a waiting list. The last I heard, there's like 15 teams on a waiting list right now waiting because they won't hire. I think they got 50 or 55 trucks, and that's all they want. They don't want to get too big because they don't want to have more trucks than what they can load, so everybody makes good money.
Yeah.
And so they've got a waiting list right now for teams, and they have like 15 people waiting on a waiting list for teams, and they have like 5 solos waiting on a waiting list. And they're not hiring nobody. They're not, and right now they're still taking applications for teams, but they're not taking any more applications for solos because they think they're trying to kind of weed solos away because they can run the teams and make more profit. Now I do a lot. I run. You probably noticed it. I run a lot of team loads. I run a lot of loads that are team loads. I do it. I don't do it. It's illegal, but I'm constantly running. I can move stuff, but I get it done. It's not easy all the time, but I do it. Then it works out. But the money factor, they pay good. They pay real good. It's the best pay that I've ever had in this industry since I've been doing it. So no, I'm not. They aggravate me and irritate me. I was madder than hell this weekend because I got screwed out of $3,000 this week on one load. Went 100 miles, paid $3,000. I couldn't get it because they didn't take this load off yesterday morning. Like they finished taking it off because they closed at 6 o'clock yesterday morning, and they couldn't make up their mind what door they wanted it at. So I paid the price. Whatever. It's just the cost of doing business.
Yep.
In the meantime, one of our other trucks is sitting over here in the parking lot, and I know he got that load that I was supposed to get, and I'm sitting there looking at him thinking, you ass. You got my load. Hey, I can do about it. I got one. I can't get it unloaded until tomorrow.
Well, and
whatever in the morning.
Well, you talk about driver shortage. The reason why drivers don't work certain freight or don't work, as much as they would like is because of the fact that they know that if I get out there, something's going to happen, and I'm going to get stuck.
Exactly.
And I'd rather do this other job over here where I'm probably not making as much money, but I'm guaranteed this run, whatever, So a lot of guys do that,
Right. Or they're guaranteed they go home every weekend. If
Yep.
they if they knock this crap off, they're finding out now that these guys ain't going to stay out like we were talking before. They're not going to stay out here 4 to 6 weeks at a time or 3 or 4 months at a time.
Yeah.
They want to go out there, work through the week and go home on the weekend so they got some kind of life at home.
Yep.
Once it's married, once it's whatever, they got you build a life beside the truck.
Yeah, if
He goes out, live his life. He goes out and stays out 3, 4 weeks at a time, and then he goes home for a week. Me, I'm 8 to 10 days, and I'm going home. I don't give a damn if the Pope likes it. I'm going home. That's the way it is. I'm going home, and I'm taking 4 days or a week off or whatever, And they had a problem with that for me, man. It was an argument for a while. They was beside themselves with me. Oh, that's the problem we got. You guys come in and start making good money, and then everybody wants to take time off. They don't want to work. I said, I told you coming into this game, I've got a house. I bought a house to live in, not a truck. I said, I got a house. I got my Harley. I got the boat. I got the wife at home. Yes, I'm going to spend time at home. I'm not going to live in the truck. Well, now we've come around to kind of found our happy spot. We found our happy place between the two of us. So Greg does what I want to do, and the company deals with it. They might not like it, but they deal with it because I gave the option. I give the ultimatum: either deal with it or cancel my lease, and I'll go somewhere else to go to work. Well, they don't want me to leave. They want me to work for it, but they don't want me to. So they work with me. But when I'm out here, I work and I turn revenue. So that's what the companies is getting into now.
Yep.
They're going to have to learn. They're going to have to start working with these guys. These guys ain't going to live on their own road.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Robbie, you probably dealt with this too, where these bigger carriers, you would tell them, they'd be out, you'd be out for a month, and you say, okay, it's time to go home, and you tell them, send me home, what's he doing? Damn, Greg. But anyway. Oh yeah, okay. But anyway, you'd be telling them, okay, I need to go home. Well, they send you a load, it's not going home, or it's not getting you close to home, and you turn it down. You say, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. And they would tell you, well, then you're going to sit because you're not. I don't have anything else. And it's like, but you knew for a week, we had this predetermined. So in the process of trying to get me miles, you also need to work on making sure I'm at a certain spot. I don't know if you remember, Robbie, they had a computer system at Swift that did that, where the computer would know when to try to get the driver home. So the computer would start routing the driver back to home, because apparently they couldn't even have all those planners that were working in all those terminals. They couldn't even be bothered to do that. They had to just say, let the computer figure it out to get the driver home, because they couldn't even figure it out because they don't do it. I mean, they would tell me, well, you're refusing to work. I said, no, I'm refusing to do the job you're telling me to do that's not getting me home.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things that I need to get out of. Okay, I've been out a month. I need to get out of the truck. I need to be away from the truck.
Exactly.
Not an hour or two going in the truck up. You take a shower, or maybe 2 hours, and do some laundry. That ain't getting out of the truck. That's just stepping away for a minute. I need to get away from the truck for a couple days.
Yeah.
Or you're out 3 weeks. Oh, you can only be home for 3 days. What? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
That doesn't fly with my goal.
Well,
one of the reasons that you agree with me is why I went out and bought a truck. Now I have a trailer. I do my own thing. I go home when I want. I found a carrier that works with me on that. I go home. I'll let you know when I'm ready to rock and roll again.
Yeah.
When I come out, I want to work.
Well, that's even with those bigger carriers, like they trick a lot of their drivers to go lease purchase, and even as a lease purchase, you're technically an owner operator, but they'll tell you can't go home when you want to. They have certain rules, and you're right. You go out and you get a truck so that you have that freedom to be able to go home, or be able to control. I mean, I knew owner operators that were leased onto these big carriers where they said, I don't run California, or I don't run Ohio, or I don't run Illinois, or I don't run Florida. I only run these states or whatever. And and they did it, because but again, it goes back to dispatchers. Like dispatchers worked with them on that. A lot of these others, they don't want to do it. They don't want to mess with it. And you talk about driver shortage. Well, that's why. Because I mean, if you can't work with me, I'm not going to work for you. So goes back to it.
Robbie and Donnie and them, they didn't have to be there for a while, and they kind of thought, it's crazy or whatever. But because of dispatch, when I started with them, they asked me, where you live at? When I called them about the job, I live in Ohio. I said, you have any freight out of Ohio? You do much out of Ohio? Oh yeah, Ohio's a good area for us. I'm around Cleveland, oh, that's a good area for us. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, I'm about 35 miles south of Youngstown. I said, so I'm in a good area then to go work for you. I can get home, I can get back for you. I have no problem getting loads home and get loads, out of home, coming out. Oh yeah, man, it worked out good for you. It's okay. So I went out, well, they loaded me first load with them. I had to get in from the house to Wayne, Michigan. Yeah, 250 some miles. I had to get in to pick up the first load. That's all right. The rate reflected it. It paid good. I did it. Okay, I did that. All right, but then when it comes time to go home, I was out in St. Louis. I spent 4 days out in St. Louis around a holiday. Over the holiday, they didn't tell me to go home. We ought to go ahead. We work slow. We ain't got nothing. Just go on and dead head on home. The load pays enough to dead head on, but they didn't tell me that. So I'm new. So I'm thinking, well, I'll just set it out. Well, I'm mad. I'm upset over it. So boss called me. The owner, he called me on Monday morning. He said, hey, I told them to call you Saturday and just tell you, that's why I've been to load high. Since the rate like I did, so you can afford to, when you unload that load, you just go on home for the 4 days for the holiday. I said, they never told me that. He said, well, I told them to tell you before I left on Saturday morning. I said, well, nobody called me, so I'm mad over that. So I'm upset with dispatcher with that. That's my fault. Okay. So how many times, Robbie, you can back me up on this, I would leave the house and they load me to go out 8, 10 days. I tell them I'm ready to go home. It's time to go home. What they do, they send you as far away from the house as they can get you, and they keep you out there. I was running Kansas City, St. Louis, Mississippi, Alabama, went to Dallas, and Fort Worth. They keep me all as far away from home as they can get me. Then they got me back to Kansas City. I run a load out to Kansas City, and it was on a Thursday, I think it was. And I told him, I said, look, it's time. I'm going home this weekend. Find me something going to the house. No, I was over in Illinois. So I said, I'm going, or no. Oh, I take that back. I was in Ohio over by Columbus. And I told him, I said, today's Thursday. I said, I'm going to be home this weekend. I said, so find me something, short tomorrow, and then I can go home for the weekend. Okay, I got to get the system for it. What happened that night? They sent me the Texas our load. They sent me one Kansas City, Kansas. I said, are you shitting me? I picked the load up. That's the way I am. I won't refuse it. I picked the load up because it paid damn good. I went to Kansas City. I got Kansas City and unloaded the load the next morning. Called them. I said, what's going on? Well, we got some business, but we haven't got anything. We've been checking on a couple things, but nothing in particular yet. I said, take me off the board. I'm going home. I'll talk to you next morning.
There you go. Boom.
And I put this thing in the wind. I fueled up in Kansas City, and I did it all the way to the house, all the way down to Youngstown, down to the house. I did that about 3 or 4 times for it. From St. Louis, Kansas City, done it twice out of down in South Carolina. Now, when I tell them it's time to go home, they find me something, going up into Ohio or the border of Indiana or somewhere relatively decent, then head to the house, because they know I'm going to go regardless.
Yep.
Now, Robbie back there, he knows I've done it because I talked to him on the way home. As long as you tell them what you're doing and you stick to it.
They didn't find me nothing, so I'm going home. Screw them.
Yep. Been there.
But for the companies I've been with, that when you want to go home, they try to keep you as far away as possible.
Yeah.
Or especially when you're coming, we don't have nothing going that way. We don't have nothing going that way. Oh, bull crap.
Yeah.
Loads going that way. Get on the load board. There's loads going that way. Broker a load out.
Yep.
But some of those dispatchers, load planners, whatever you want to call them, they don't have that common sense. They don't know what it's like out here. They're right out of the high school. Oh, they got a diploma, they got a degree or whatever, and whatever computer skills or something. They don't know what it's like in a truck.
No, yeah.
Been in a truck.
Yep. You're right.
Nope, they haven't. You're
Well,
right.
and I mean that what it boils down to is it's almost like every time that I always had a new dispatcher, I was like, so I got to train another dispatcher. So things like that. But yeah, that's good. That's good stuff there. So hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. This is all things trucking and then some. And we're with Greg and Robbie, both the directors of Redneckanize, and we appreciate having along. Don't forget we have a great sponsor, and that's DPF Regeneration. You can check them out at dpfregeneration.com. They got SCR units, EGR coolers, all that stuff. They are all different engine size types. and you can give them a call at 800-634-3010 or check them out at dpfregeneration.com. Don't forget to give us a holler at 516-387-1733 every Sunday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
Over mountains and valleys and deserts and plains. I guess I've drove about all of them. 'Cause for the past 25 years now, the cab of a truck has been my home. And it'd be kind of hard for me to settle down and not be on the road. Well, I remember the first